Brian Sherrod is there, and we check in with him live right now to see the very latest. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Lisa. What we can tell you, we just got an update about 30 minutes ago, and we'll let you know what it is right now. Now, we talked to the fire marshal, who was Ryan Erickson, and he was the one that provided this update, letting us know that the call first came in around 4:57 a.m. Now, as we were traveling on I-94, you could literally see the top of this building with flames everywhere on top from I-94 as we were traveling here. Now, what we're going to let you know is that fire did start on the top floor of the balcony. That's the third floor. It did spread to the attic, and what we know is that they're still working to clear that attic right now. No injuries have been reported. They did say everyone made it out, and there was an investigator en route so we can find out more about this fire. We do know it was a third alarm fire as well. So what we can tell you is you can probably see the video, even the pictures on screen right now, showing you how the scene looked when we got there and how the comparison to how it looks right now. But again, these are people who are possibly going to be displaced. When we did ask that question, he said that he wasn't able to answer the question about displacement at this time, but said it was more of a possibility. So we can't really confirm that now until he's able to confirm that. So this is the details that we have right now. We're still working on talking to some of the residents here and seeing if they're willing to let us know their side and how they're feeling, if they're displaced at all. So, Lisa, I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to you in studio so we can continue working on getting more updates.
Good news is we heard no one was hurt, but I think we can assume that some people are going to be homeless. Quite significant flames coming out of that apartment building this morning. Brian Sherrod reporting live on this breaking news. Thank you. New this morning, the Detroit Lakes School Superintendent is sending some students home again, and he's blaming it on last weekend's social get-togethers. DL High School students are moving to distance learning today through at least next Friday, but could be back in the classroom as early as November 16th. Superintendent Darren Wolf says the change is necessary after a number of infections at the high school that he says are a result of several social gatherings over the Halloween weekend. He says they have at least 39 students quarantining and 5 who tested positive for COVID-19. Wolf is asking all students and parents to use the next week to stay home, social distance, and help slow the spread of the virus. School officials also ask anyone who has symptoms to contact the main office to help them determine the severity of this outbreak. Also new this morning, a tragic reminder for all of us to watch out for deer on roads this time of year. A Minnesota man is in critical condition right now after hitting a deer while driving his motorcycle. It happened around 7:30 last night in Benton County. A 23-year-old Sauk Rapids man is in the St. Cloud Hospital with life-threatening injuries. 8 minutes before 7, another nice day on the way. We'll find out just how warm as we check in now with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Good morning. We are still looking at warm air today, but maybe not quite breaking records like we did yesterday. And yesterday we broke them throughout the valley. Here's a look at those records, the old ones that we had. We were 60s and 70s, but our highs on yesterday's date surpassed that or tied that in each one of these locations. Fargo, Grand Forks broke a record at 74. Devils Lake and Badette broke records. And in Park Rapids, we tied them. So it was so warm yesterday. And today will be warm, but maybe not quite at that range. Here's a look at our numbers and how conditions are right now. Fargo's at 33. We've got clear skies throughout much of the valley. Grand Forks is below freezing at 31, and Devils Lake below freezing as well at 30 degrees, and so is Bemidji. Fergus Falls, Detroit Lakes hanging on to a couple of degrees above, and that wind starting to shift here for us again. We saw that weak cold front move through last night, and now our temperature is slightly cooler for the forecast for today. But again, we've been so warm, we're still going to be well above average. Your radar satellite map showing quiet weather. There are a couple of clouds up to the north, and that's an area around Lake of the Woods where we may see a few more clouds today build in as a system passes by to the north. Here's your bus stop forecast. Temperatures this morning in the 20s and 30s, so the kids will want to make sure that they're bundled up, but this afternoon still looking pretty good. For Fargo, for eastern North Dakota, we're looking at 60s for highs. Some of us, again, in northwest Minnesota, more into the 50s. But even if you feel like things are cooling down, that's still 10 degrees above average. So that just gives you some perspective on just how warm we've been. Still looking at some great weather for doing some yard work. I was out enjoying the weather yesterday, saw a lot of folks working on their yards or even putting up those Christmas decorations. That's a good time now to do that. We've got good conditions today, tomorrow, even into Saturday. I think it'll be okay to be out working. Maybe you haven't been able to because of the work week. Well, Saturday I think should be pretty good. Might be a little bit of wind, but overall, we're looking at some great weather over the next several days. Sunday's the big day for changes, and you can see what we've got coming after that. So enjoy this while you can.
I've even enjoyed just having the windows and the doors open. It's so beautiful outside.
Yes.
It's nice. Thank you, Lisa. Breaking news overnight. Sheriff's deputies were called in to protect the elections building in Phoenix overnight after some protesters tried to get inside. Election officials are still counting ballots from Tuesday night in Maricopa County. Deputies formed a line out front to keep the crowd away from the doors. Officials say some vote center workers and members of the media were escorted away for safety. Demonstrators gathered in cities across the country overnight for Count the Vote rallies. In the Northeast, dozens marched down the streets of Philadelphia, holding up a large banner that said, "Count every vote." The rally comes as mail-in ballots are still being tallied in battleground states like Pennsylvania. A few hundred gathered at the Boston Common, demanding a fair election that ensures every legal vote for the presidential election is counted. A crowd also marched in Pittsburgh, holding up signs and chanting that no one should undermine the electoral process. 2 days later, and the race for the White House is still too close to call as vote counting continues in several key states. The Trump campaign is preparing for legal challenges, while the president's path to re-election narrows. Joe Biden is projected to win 2 more battleground states, Wisconsin and Michigan. That puts the former vice president within striking distance of the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Georgia are all still considered toss-ups. Arizona and Nevada seem to be leaning Democratic. The delay in election results has created more tension in an already passionate election. A large voter turnout and heavy mail-in voting presence have delayed the results of this election. And this has already raised speculation and debate for some. But people we talked to here in the Valley say they assumed there was going to be some kind of delay this year.
Building up to it, there was already the discussions on the mail-in voting and the potential for voter fraud or potential for not all of the mail-in votes to be counted. So you had to know that there was going to be a delay.
Although it may be hard to wait, many people we talked to say it will be worth it to make sure that all votes are accounted for. Some Minnesota farmers are wondering what happens now that Michelle Fischbach unseated Colin Peterson in Tuesday's election. Peterson was chairman of the House Ag Committee. Many farmers across the region say their concern is now a lack of stability.
If there was more consistency and predictability, that's what I want to see in Washington. You know, the way Washington works, he'll still have plenty of opportunity to have lots of influence.
Kevin Price with American Crystal Sugar says Peterson's service in Minnesota District 7 was remarkable, and Fischbach has some incredibly big shoes to fill. West Fargo's public library is going curbside and appointment only because of the spike in COVID cases in Cass County. Starting tomorrow, you'll have to book an appointment. Each appointment will last 30 minutes. The library will also be offering up curbside pickup service and have Wi-Fi access available from the parking lot. This service model will continue until Cass County returns to the moderate risk level. North Dakota health officials say hospitalizations due to complications from coronavirus have reached another new high. The Wednesday report shows that 220 people were being treated in medical facilities across the state. There are more than 1,100 new cases, and nearly 300 of those are in Cass County. The state reported 12 new deaths, bringing the death toll to 567. Minnesota COVID numbers also hit a high daily number of cases with 3,844. Plus 31 new deaths. Health officials say coronavirus is spreading in every community at an all-time high. They say that's because of happy hour with friends, brunch with family members living in other households, gatherings in your backyard, weddings, and other ceremonies. Health officials are asking you to take action to slow the spread by wearing a mask, washing your hands often, staying 6 feet away from others, avoiding large gatherings, and getting tested. Plus remember, stay home if you are sick. Valley News Live is teaming up again with the Great Plains Food Bank for another virtual food drive. It will help families in need around the FM area. Our goal is $40,000. To find out how you can help out, Just download our free VNL News app, look for the virtual food drive button, it's bright yellow, you see it there, and click to donate. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Here's today's question. When it comes to new relationships, a new study found that this has a lot to do with the success of that relationship. Ooh, this is a big one. The answer, meeting the parents. Remember, you can play along every weekday morning by heading to our Valley News Live Facebook page. Remember, we are following breaking news for you this morning. We have a massive apartment fire in South Fargo. Massive presence by fire departments as well. Take a look at those flames. We're going to continue to get updates, including live reports from Brian Sherrod on the Fargo CW. So stay with us.